Hi, I'm Curious Vedant, and welcome to season 4 of my podcast. Today, my guest is Nikun Sharma, the CEO of Mercy for Animals India Foundation. Prior to this, he was the head of PETA's India Public Policy Department. He has a master's degree in social work. Hi, Nikunj. Welcome to my show.
Hi Vedant, I'm so happy to be on your show finally. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, let's start. So, Nikunj, I'm curious to know, what does Mercy for Animals in India Foundation or MFA do?
So, Mercy for Animals India Foundation is the affiliate of Mercy for Animals, which is a US based charity, already having its global presence in countries like Brazil, Mexico, and now in India. We're also expanding in Asian countries such as Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Korea, Japan, and Indonesia, which should happen by starting of next year. So, MFA India's mission is to construct a compassionate food system by reducing suffering and ending the exploitation of animals raised for food. We envision and work towards a world free of cruelty, a world in which we nurture our bodies, minds, and spirits with wholesome, healthy food that is kind to animals and sustainable for our planet. And Mercy for Animals also believes that having such a world is possible. In fact, it is inevitable if we work together to elevate humanity to its fullest potential. To achieve our mission, MFA India works with policymakers, celebrities and influencers, companies and corporations, farmer groups, environment, public health, and other like minded organizations to build a better world for animals.
Soon, probably MFA will be all around the world, right?
Yes, we will have our footprints across the globe.
Wow. What is the most important project that you are working on right now?
Well, there are many that I'm working on right now, Vedant, but the most important, and I would say the closest to my heart that I'm working on right now is MFA India's collaboration with one of India's leading public health institute to establish a research center. And this research center will also be a first of its kind in India, which would work on connecting public health and animal agriculture. And the center aims to strengthen the research and policies around zoonosis in India. And the center also proposes to organize a series of virtual expert group consultations to transfer knowledge and initiate a multi-sectoral and multidisciplinary dialogue in the area of One Health in India. And once we have the center up and running, we would be able to come up with strong India specific evidence on pandemics and their links with poor conditions on animals at farms. So it's all this is the closest to my heart because it's all very relatable right now with the COVID pandemic, spread across the globe, and it's having its strong linkages with animal markets. So yeah, this is one of the most interesting and most important project that I'm doing right now.
What is MFA doing to help COVID lose the battle?
Yeah. So, as an animal rights organization, animal welfare organization, as many studies have come up, though not conclusive evidence, but there is still evidence that links the origin of COVID pandemic to wet markets and animal markets and poor conditions. I mean, from 2007, almost every year there has been bird flu outbreak in India, which has strong links with the poor conditions in factory farms. So MF India is working, as I said, that with the start of this particular center, we want to strengthen India-specific research and knowledge base so that we can go to the government and have policies made in a way that animals do not suffer at farms. And of course, animal health and human health is so interconnected that this work of ours through this research center is definitely going to address the problem of pandemics, not just in India, but across the globe.
I've heard that you work with Indian Institute of Public Health. That might help.
Yes. So the organization who we are planning to tie up with is called as the George Institute of Global Health, and they are also a global organization having their headquarters in Australia, but they have a regional head office in India, in New Delhi as well. So we're planning to work with them on this particular issue.
At your previous job in the Indian Institute of Public Health, you were working on anti-cigarettes. Does that have any relation to what you're doing now?
Um, Not really. I mean, that was mainly I was involved in the tobacco control campaign, and I was mostly handling the communications and policy part of it. So if you look at, in India, if you look at movies, just before the movies, you can see a ticker which says "tobacco kills," and with a proper message in English and Hindi. So that was drafted by me, and that was an entire campaign that I had done with Ministry of Health and Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. So my role at the Public Health Foundation of India was mostly, handling the communication policy side of it. But that particular role has actually, I would say, made me grow as a person and understand the importance of one policy decision changing having the potential to change the lives of millions, whether it's humans or animals. So that particular role had a very life changing, kind of a impact, on me. So, but nothing as such directly, but yeah, learning from that role on how we can work with the governments to get certain policies made for the, to help millions of animals and humans in just one policy change.
That's really important. You're really good.
Thank you, Vedant.
How did you end up leading MFA India?
That's a very interesting question, Vedant. But I think your dad, Jayasimha, can also tell you more about this, since he's the one who pushed me to apply for the CEO position. I remember it took Jayasimha almost 2 rounds of conversations with me, one when we were in Goa and the other one when we were holidaying in Missouri. Of course, you were also there, but you were too young to understand what he's been trying to convince me for. But I'm glad that I applied and couldn't have been more content with my decision. It has been one of the most fulfilling job experience I've had so far, and for that I thank your dad Jayasimha, that if he hadn't told me about this position at MFA in India, I probably wouldn't have been here.
I'm so glad you found something that you love. Of all the work you have done, what has been the most rewarding?
Vedant, MFA India started at a very challenging time. It was March 2020 when I started working. And soon after I took over, within a week, there was a global lockdown, and India, having one of the toughest lockdowns in the entire world. So for the initial few months, it felt like nothing is going to move for some time. But things did move. We started collaborating with other like-minded organizations like People for Animals, HSI, Ahimsa Trust. Also, started working on certain policy issues, and also recorded a public service video which was narrated by Srimati Maneka Gandhi, which brought out the horrendous cruelties inflicted upon animals raised for milk. To me, in the past 1 year, I would say that the most rewarding of everything that I've done so far is to have set up a first formal office of MFA India in New Delhi, where we have just shifted 2 days ago, and hiring my first team members who are very dedicated to the cause and have helped MFA India reach where we are today. And MFA India now plans to expand with hiring more staff in various departments in the beginning of 2022. So yeah, that's been the most rewarding for me in the past 1 year.
Good. It's really nice that you found a way to make MFA India strong, especially since it started in a very bad time. What has been the biggest challenge you have faced?
Oh, my joining started with the biggest challenge, the pandemic. Probably for the entire mankind, but for me personally, it was a challenge because I had just joined the organization, such a huge organization, as its head, and I had the responsibility to take the organization ahead. I had a lot of operational issues to deal with regarding our incorporation, setting up bank accounts, transferring accounts, because MFA India had been set up in 2016, but since MFA did not have a full-time head to look into certain issues, I had to really spend a lot of time in operational and administrative issues. We still do not have a license to acquire foreign funds, so arranging funds from Indian donors to run operations and pay salaries to employees were some of the biggest challenges. But I would like to take this opportunity again to thank Jayasima for being the guiding light and helping MFA India sail through this, sail through most of this, especially the funding part. And it's probably because of him that MFA India is at a very stable position in terms of funds and in terms of hiring staff that we are today. So yeah, I mean, I think operational and administrative issues were the biggest challenges in the past 1 year, but I would say that we have been able to manage most of them pretty smoothly.
My dad is a big fan of your organization, and he's really happy that you work there. What made you choose to do the work you are doing now?
Hmm. So I was Vedant. I was a very average student in my school days, but I was always, um, ahead in sports and extracurricular activities. So I started my days of activism in school days when I was just 13 or 14 years old. I joined a local government dispensary and would go as a volunteer to administer polio drops in the neighboring areas. So that's how it all started. Um, I was sure by the time I passed out school that I wanted to do something for the society, so I joined a course in social work. But I realized that animals needed my voice more than anyone. When there were 5 dogs I used to care for in my college campus were allegedly poisoned by the municipal corporation of that city. This is when I first got in touch with folks at PETA and People for Animals, and this particular move ended up in filing a police complaint with the local police on dog poisoning. And so this was a life-changing event that made my resolve stronger. That if I have to work for someone helpless, it has to be animals. So that's when I decided during my post-graduation days that animal rights is something that I want to dedicate my life.
How can my listeners support the amazing work that you are doing?
Vedanta, I know you have many listeners and fans. So through you, I would like to request your listeners that they can visit our website, mercyforanimals.in, and join our activist network. We have certain open campaigns that they can support. Your listeners can also support us, the Indian listeners, to support us by donating to us on our website. We have an online donation link on our website, so that's going to be very crucial in a fight to protect animals. So yeah, that's something that I would request our listeners to do.
Dear listeners, we are going to put up a link to the MFA India website. So look for it in the show notes. What did you want to be as a child?
Okay, so Vedant, as a child, I wanted to do and be many things at the same time. But the strongest desire I had was to become a cricketer, and then later on as an actor. But I haven't been either of them. But I'm very happy to what I'm doing right now.
Even I want to be a cricketer when I grow up.
That would be amazing.
It's a really fun sport.
Yes, it is.
What are your hobbies?
Vedant, I love to travel a lot, both for work and for fun. And music is something I love to listen in my free time. And if you are interested to know, nowadays I'm listening to almost all seasons of Nescafe Basement. It's available on YouTube. And when I'm not traveling or listening to music, I love to play all kind of role play kind of games with my daughter. That's something I love.
Nice, you love music. Even I love music. It's so calm, right?
Yeah, so you should definitely give a listen to Nescafe Basement, and especially the Pakistani version. It has some amazing raw music that you would love to.
Sure, I will. My dad says that you make the best Maggie ever. How did you learn to make it so nice?
Yeah, that refreshes the memories of my time with your father when we both used to stay in the same room in the same apartment in Mumbai. It was for about a year that we stayed together, and we used to stay up till late nights, and that is when the entire Maggie episode started. When Jaya moved out of the apartment after marriage, he used to come home with your mom just to make her eat the Maggie I would prepare. And I'm personally personally a hardcore Maggie lover, so I would keep experimenting with the recipe. And the final recipe that I have is still a secret. But Vedant, I can make that for you when we meet in person. So you have to meet me to try the best Maggi in the world.
I was just about to ask you to tell my listeners the recipe to your Maggie.
That's the secret recipe, Vedant. I can tell you, but not to the world. But I can make you have the tastiest Maggie if you promise to meet me next time. And very soon you have to meet me.
Yes, I will. We had a really fun time in Missouri, so I can't wait to meet you again.
Oh yeah, in fact, you know what, Vedant? We are heading to Missouri again on Wednesday, and we are going to stay in the same place, Pooja Auntie's hotel. And we're just missing you. And Shikha Auntie and Bhargavi, they were all asking if you are coming, and Jaya and Divya are coming. But I said, oh, they're in Singapore. But they're really going to miss you.
You should come to Singapore sometime. It's really fun.
Yes, I think I'm planning to come to Singapore next year in January or early February. That's when I'll see.
And we'll get all the Maggie stuff ready.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on my show.
Thank you, Vedant. It was so much fun, and I have been waiting to be on your show for so long. And thank you so much for having me on your show. It's amazing. I'm a big fan of your podcast. I do not miss a single episode. And
Thank you.
it's just so amazing to listen to you and the amazing guests that you get in every episode. So yeah, I'm a big fan, Vedant.
Thank you. Dear listeners, follow my Facebook page, Curious Vedant, to get updates on my upcoming episodes. To listen at leisure on your phone and get notified about future episodes, subscribe by searching for Curious Vedant wherever you get your podcasts, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can also listen to my show on CuriousVedant.com. Thank you for listening to Curious Vedant, and don't forget to rate and leave comments.